Maya had worked at Lakeside Diner for almost 3 years. Every morning, she tied her apron around her waist, pushed open the kitchen door, and stepped onto the floor with the same warm smile. She greeted customers, carried heavy trays, and remembered every order by heart. People loved her calm voice and kind nature. But behind her smile, Maya lived a simple, struggling life. She worked long hours to help her mother with rent and bills. She never complained, but she rarely had time for herself. Her coworkers liked her, but some of them loved to play small pranks just to make the day interesting. They often teased each other, but sometimes the jokes went too far. One cold afternoon, when business was slow and the diner was almost empty, her coworkers gathered near the coffee station, whispering and giggling. Maya noticed them looking her way and then quickly looking away. She walked past them to refill a customer's coffee. She heard one of them say, "She never expect it," followed by a quiet laugh. Maya didn't think much of it. She simply finished her work and returned to the counter. Later that day, as she wiped down a table, her coworker Jenna approached her with a big smile. Jenna was friendly but loved surprises too much. "Maya," she said cheerfully, "guess what? We signed you up for something fun." Maya stopped wiping and looked up. "Fun?" she repeated softly. She was tired from the long shift but curious. "Yes, a blind date," Jenna said proudly, as if she had just announced something wonderful. Maya blinked. "A blind date? With who?" "That's the surprise," Jenna said with a wink. "Someone very nice. Someone who wants to meet a sincere, caring person like you." Maya felt confused. She never asked for a blind date. She didn't even know how to react. "Jenna, I don't really have time for dates. I work every day." Another coworker, Liam, leaned against the counter. "Come on, Maya," he said, smiling. "It's just dinner. You deserve a break." Maya hesitated. She was shy when it came to personal matters, and the idea of meeting a stranger made her nervous. But Jenna and Liam kept encouraging her, saying it would be good for her, saying the man was excited to meet her. Jenna added, "The reservation is already made. It's a nice restaurant. You just have to show up." Maya frowned a little. Something felt strange. Why would they plan a blind date without asking her? But at the same time, she didn't want to disappoint them, and a part of her wondered if maybe it could be a harmless evening. "Okay," Maya said quietly. "Just this one time." Jenna clapped her hands happily. "Great, you'll thank us later." But as she walked away, Maya felt a small worry in her chest. She didn't know why. She went home that night and told her mother about it. Her mother was surprised too. "A blind date?" she asked. "Are you comfortable with that, Maya?" "I'm not sure," Maya admitted, "but they promised it would be fine. They said the man is kind." Her mother placed a soft hand on her shoulder. "If you go with an open heart, but be careful. And remember, you don't have to impress anyone. Just be yourself." Maya nodded. The next day after her shift, she rushed home, changed into a simple blue dress, and tied her hair into a neat bun. She didn't have fancy clothes, but she still wanted to look presentable. She took a deep breath and repeated to herself, "It's just dinner." Nothing more. The restaurant her coworkers chose was nicer than she expected. It had warm lights, soft music, and a gentle smell of fresh bread. She stepped inside nervously. A host greeted her and asked for her name. "Maya," she said quietly. "There should be a reservation." The host smiled and checked the list. "Ah, yes. Your guest is already here. Follow me." Her heart beat faster with every step. She wondered what he looked like, how he talked, and why he agreed to this blind date. Then she saw him. A large man sat at a corner table near the window. He wore a neat gray suit, and his hands were folded nervously on the table. He looked up the moment she approached, and his expression softened with relief. He stood up slowly, smiling in a shy way. "You must be Maya," he said gently. Maya froze for a moment. She hadn't expected him. Not like this. He looked older, heavier, and more nervous than she imagined. But there was something warm in his eyes, something honest. "Yes," Maya said softly. "I'm Maya. I'm Daniel," he said. "Thank you for coming. I was nervous you wouldn't." His voice was kind, his handshake gentle. Maya sat down carefully, trying to calm her racing thoughts. Daniel looked uncomfortable too, as if he was scared of saying the wrong thing. For a moment, they both sat in silence. Then Maya realized something important. Whatever this was, whatever her coworkers planned, this man wasn't part of a joke. He looked like someone hoping for a real chance. And she decided to give him that chance, even though she still didn't know the truth waiting behind this strange invitation. Daniel sat across from Maya, trying his best to stay calm, but his hands kept shaking slightly under the table. He had attended hundreds of business meetings in his life meetings with investors, leaders, and even government officials, yet none of them made him as nervous as this simple dinner with a kind waitress he had never met before. His heart felt heavy but hopeful, as if tonight carried a quiet possibility he had not felt in years. For most people, Daniel was known as Daniel Hart, the man who built one of the largest tech companies in the country. But for him, success had always come with a long shadow. People admired his wealth, his business skills, his decisions. But very few ever cared about the person behind the title. He was used to being judged for his appearance, for his size, and for the way he moved slowly due to health struggles. Many assumed he was lazy or careless, without understanding the years of stress, emotional eating, and long nights spent alone in an empty office. So Daniel learned to hide his feelings behind polite smiles. But tonight, he could not hide. He wanted to be honest. He wanted Maya to know he was more than what people saw. Maya sat with him quietly, watching him with gentle curiosity. She did not rush him or push him. She simply waited, letting him find his words. Her soft patience made him feel safe in a way he had not felt in a long time. "You look nervous," Maya said finally, with a tiny smile. He exhaled slowly. "I am. I don't usually do this," Maya nodded. "Me too. My coworkers arranged this for me. I didn't plan it myself." Daniel's eyebrows lifted. "Your coworkers arranged it?" "Yes," she answered. "They said it would be good for me." Daniel fell silent for a moment. He wondered if her coworkers knew who he was. Most people who tried to set him up did so because of his bank account, not because they cared about his feelings. But Maya didn't act like those people. She didn't seem impressed by money, status, or anything else. She simply sat there being herself. He felt strangely relieved. The waiter arrived with water, giving them both a moment to breathe. "So," Daniel began softly, "you work at the diner?" Maya nodded. "Yes, it's simple work, but I like the customers. They tell stories. They make the day feel full." Daniel smiled slightly. "You appreciate small things." "I try to," Maya replied. "Life is heavy sometimes, but small good moments help." Her words touched him. He felt seen not as a CEO, not as a wealthy man, but as someone who carried a heavy life too. He looked out the window for a moment. The streets outside were glowing under soft lights. People walked by holding shopping bags or laughing with friends. The world outside looked bright, but Daniel had often felt alone in it. "My life is busy," Daniel said finally. "Too busy and quiet at the same time." Maya tilted her head. "Quiet?" "Yes," he said. "Success doesn't give you company. It doesn't sit with you when you're tired. It doesn't ask how your day was." Maya listened carefully. She did not interrupt. She knew the feeling of empty evenings too well. Daniel continued, almost whispering, I forgot what real company feels like." Maya's eyes softened. "Maybe you're remembering it tonight." Those simple words made his chest warm. No one had spoken to him like that in years, without judgment, without distance, without pretending. He cleared his throat gently. "Can I tell you something? Something personal?" "You can," Maya said. Daniel took a deep breath. "Many people assume I have everything. But when someone only sees your outside, They forget you have a heart too. Maya nodded slowly. I understand. People judge me at the diner too. They think I'm quiet because I have no dreams. They don't know I work at night to help my mother. Daniel blinked in surprise. You take care of your family? Yes, my mother is all I have. I want to make life easier for her. Daniel looked at Maya with deep respect. She was nothing like the people he usually met, those who chased status or tried to impress him. She was real, steady, and full of heart. For the first time in years, Daniel relaxed. He leaned back in his chair, letting go of the tension in his shoulders. I'm glad I met you, Maya, he said softly. Maya gave him a small smile. I'm glad I came. The waiter brought their food-warm dishes that filled the table with gentle aroma. They ate slowly, sharing stories. Maya told him about the funny customers at the diner, about her dream of one day opening a small bakery with her mother. Daniel listened with genuine interest. He loved hearing dreams that were made of simple happiness, not business goals. In return, Daniel shared moments from his early life, how he used to fix old computers in his garage, how he saved every small earning to build his first company. Maya listened with the same warmth he offered her. The more they spoke, the more the walls between them faded. At one point, Daniel looked at her quietly and said, Thank you. For what? Maya asked. For talking to me like I'm a person, not a headline. Maya shook her head. You are a person, Daniel. Everyone deserves to feel that. Daniel looked down, swallowing the emotion rising in his chest. He realized something unexpected. This evening meant more to him than any business success ever had. This simple dinner felt like the first step toward being seen again. When the waiter stepped away, Maya and Daniel were left alone again, facing each other across the glowing table. A small candle flickered between them, filling the space with warm light. Maya noticed how Daniel kept straightening his silverware, as if trying to calm his nerves through tiny actions. She felt nervous too, but she also felt something else: curiosity. There was something gentle about him, something honest. She sat up a little straighter and tried to ease the atmosphere. So, do you come to this restaurant a lot? She asked softly. Daniel shook his head quickly. No, he said, almost embarrassed. Not really, I'm not used to dates. His voice cracked slightly on the last word. Maya's lips curved into a small smile. Me neither. My last date was many years ago. Daniel looked surprised. Someone like you? I would think people ask you out all the time. Maya blushed slightly and shook her head. People talk to me at the diner, yes, but not in that way, and I don't go out much. I focus on work. Daniel nodded slowly. The way she spoke, calm, humble, simple, felt refreshing. He wasn't used to conversations like this. Usually, people talked to him about business ideas, investments, or new deals. Tonight felt different, real. Still, the silence between them returned again, stretching long and thin. Maya cleared her throat and tried another question. What made you agree to a blind date? Daniel hesitated. He didn't want to admit the truth right away. That he had been lonely. That someone had suggested meeting a nice young woman who wouldn't judge him harshly. That he desperately wanted a chance to feel normal again. But Maya's eyes were sincere, soft, steady, welcoming. So he told her the truth. I wanted to meet someone who wasn't part of my business world, he said slowly. Someone who doesn't see me as a CEO, Maya nodded gently. Then maybe tonight was a good idea for both of us. Her simple words felt like a warm blanket around his shoulders. Another moment passed, quiet, but not uncomfortable anymore. Then Daniel did something unexpected. He laughed softly, a real laugh. Maya looked at him curiously. What's funny? I haven't felt this nervous since I presented my first project in college, he admitted. Maya laughed too, the sound light and natural. Well, if it makes you feel better, I almost turned around at the door because I thought I'd embarrass myself. His eyes widened. Really? Yes, Maya said, nodding. I didn't know who I was meeting, I thought. What if the person doesn't like me? Daniel shook his head firmly. That's impossible. The way he said it, sincere, not flirtatious, made Maya feel a warmth she hadn't expected. She looked down at her hands for a moment, feeling her chest tighten with a strange new feeling. Daniel noticed her silence and panicked a little. I didn't mean to say something wrong. No, Maya said quickly. You didn't. It was kind. Daniel exhaled in relief. His shoulders loosened. Slowly, the awkwardness between them began to melt. They started talking again, softly at first, then more freely. Maya told him about her childhood in a small neighborhood where everyone knew each other. She spoke about her mother's gentle nature and how she always told Maya, kindness is free. Give it without fear. Daniel listened carefully, his heart softening with every word she said. Then Daniel shared a surprising detail. You know, I wasn't always confident, even before my company grew. I always felt like I was not enough. Maya looked directly into his eyes. Why would you think that? People judge quickly, he said quietly. Most don't take time to know me. Maya leaned forward slightly. Well, I'm here, right? And I'm listening. Her words were simple, but to Daniel, they felt like the rarest gift in the world. He swallowed hard, trying to keep his emotions controlled. But a small truth slipped out before he could stop it. You're easy to talk to, he whispered. Maya blinked. For a moment, she didn't know what to say. Compliments usually made her uncomfortable, but this one felt different, real, soft, genuine. Thank you, Daniel, she said finally. They continued talking for a long time, about small things, big things, funny moments, and quiet memories. And slowly, the awkward meeting began to feel like a real connection. Then came a small, gentle moment that changed everything. The waiter brought dessert menus, and Maya reached for hers at the same time Daniel reached for his. Their hands brushed for just a second, light, unplanned, innocent. But something warm passed between them. They both froze, eyes meeting in surprise. Sorry, Daniel said quickly. Maya pulled her hand back slowly. It's okay, she whispered. Their hearts beat a little faster, though neither of them said it. After a moment, Maya looked down at the table and spoke softly. Daniel, you're easy to trust. That sentence hit him deeply. No one had said something like that to him in years. Trust was something he gave others, but rarely received himself. He looked at her carefully, his voice gentle. And you make it easy. The atmosphere shifted, quiet, warm, filled with a soft understanding that neither expected when they walked in earlier. This blind date, which began with nerves and awkward silence, was turning into something neither of them knew they needed, a moment of human connection. Neither of them knew that the truth waiting outside this restaurant would soon test everything. But for now, they were simply two people sharing a quiet, unexpected beginning. The restaurant became quieter as the evening moved on. Most guests had finished their meals and walked out into the cool night air. But inside the cozy corner near the window, Maya and Daniel were still seated, still talking, still discovering pieces of each other they never expected to share. The candle between them flickered softly, casting warm shadows across their faces. Maya felt strangely comfortable. She didn't usually open up to strangers, especially not on the first meeting. But Daniel didn't feel like a stranger anymore. He felt gentle, steady, and honest. His voice carried no judgment, only curiosity and respect. Daniel leaned back slightly, stirring the spoon in his tea. Can I ask you something, Maya? He said carefully. Yes, she replied. You seem calm. Very calm, even when something is new or confusing. How do you do that? Maya smiled softly and looked down for a moment. I think I learned to breathe slowly through life. When things get hard, I remind myself that panic only makes things heavier. Daniel nodded. I wish I knew how to do that. My mind runs too fast sometimes. Maya tilted her head. But you listen deeply. That's your calm. Her words surprised him. No one had ever praised his listening before. He had always been told to decide quickly, lead strongly, speak with confidence. But she noticed something different, something gentle that even he didn't see in himself. He felt a small warmth in his chest. After a moment, he asked quietly, "Do you ever feel lonely, Maya?" The question sat between them like a quiet truth. Maya didn't rush to answer. She stared at her glass for a long moment, then looked up. "Yes," she said softly. "More than people think." Daniel's expression softened. "Even with all the customers around you?" "Customers are people passing by," Maya said. "They don't stay. I smile, I serve, and then they leave. My days are full, but my heart, sometimes it feels empty." Daniel looked at her with deep understanding. "I know that feeling too well." Maya leaned forward slightly. "Do you?" Daniel gave a small, sad smile. "Yes, people see me as a CEO. They expect strength, confidence, answers. But what they don't see is that I go home to an apartment that is quiet. I sit at a table made for 6 people, but it's always one plate." Maya felt a sharp ache in her chest. She didn't expect him to be this honest. "That must feel heavy," she whispered. He nodded. "It does. You know, when I came here tonight, I hoped for good conversation. But I didn't expect someone to actually hear me." Maya smiled gently. "Sometimes people just need to be heard. And you're doing that," Daniel said, his voice almost breaking. "Thank you." She felt her heart warm at his sincerity. It wasn't romance, it wasn't flirtation, just 2 souls allowing themselves to be real. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence wasn't empty this time. It was full of understanding, trust, and a strange closeness that felt new and precious. Then Maya decided to share something she had never told anyone at the diner. "You know, Daniel, when I was younger, my dream was to be a writer. I loved stories. My mother told me I had a soft heart, and soft hearts write soft stories." Daniel's eyes brightened. "A writer? That's amazing. Why didn't you continue?" Maya sighed quietly. "Life, bills, responsibilities. Sometimes dreams need time, but time isn't always kind." Daniel nodded slowly, feeling the truth of her words. "Maybe your dream is waiting for you, not gone." Maya looked at him with surprise. No one had said that to her before. No one had given her permission to dream again. Daniel continued, "Dreams don't disappear just because life becomes difficult. They wait for moments like this. Moments where someone reminds you they still matter." Maya felt her chest tighten. She didn't know why, but tears touched her eyes, not from sadness, but from being truly seen. "Thank you," she said softly. "People don't usually say things like that to me." Daniel gave her a gentle smile. "Maybe they should." She looked down, wiping her eyes discreetly, then laughed quietly at herself. "I didn't expect to get emotional at a blind date." Daniel chuckled softly. "Me neither, but it's all right." "This feels human," Maya nodded. "Yes, human." The waiter approached with dessert, a slice of warm cinnamon cake that filled the air with sweetness. Maya took a small bite and closed her eyes for a second. "This is really good," she said. Daniel smiled. "I'm glad you like it." She looked at him with curiosity. "Do you cook?" Daniel blushed slightly. "A little. Mostly simple dishes." "What's your favorite thing to make?" she asked. He thought for a moment. "Soup," he said. "It makes the place smell like someone is home." Those words touched her deeply. They continued talking about favorite foods, childhood memories, small joys, quiet fears. Time passed without either of them noticing. The world outside faded away. The awkwardness of their first meeting had turned into gentle warmth, the kind that feels like the start of a story someone might want to read again. When the bill came, Daniel reached for it quickly, but Maya stopped him. "You don't have to," she said softly. "I want to," Daniel replied gently. "Not because of money. Because this evening meant something to me." Maya looked at him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. As they stood up to leave, both felt the same quiet truth inside. This wasn't just a simple dinner. Something had begun here, something honest, something unexpected, something that neither of them wanted to end. When Daniel and Maya stepped out of the warm restaurant and into the cool night air, the city lights shimmered around them. Cars passed slowly, people talked softly on the sidewalks, and a gentle breeze brushed against Maya's hair. It felt like a peaceful ending to a peaceful evening. But what neither of them knew was that the truth was waiting just around the corner, ready to break the quiet calm of the night. Daniel offered to walk Maya to the bus stop. She nodded politely, keeping her hands tucked into her coat pockets. Daniel walked beside her, careful to match her pace. For a few minutes, everything felt light and simple. They talked about small things, the weather, the music from the restaurant, the warm dessert they shared. But as Maya turned the corner toward the diner where she worked, Daniel noticed a group of her coworkers standing outside. Some held their phones, some were whispering. Some were trying and failing to hide big smiles. Maya slowed down, confused. Why are they here? She mumbled. Daniel felt something tighten in his chest. Jenna, Liam, and two other coworkers spotted them and waved dramatically. "Maya!" Jenna shouted, laughing as she ran toward her. "You came back." Maya felt her stomach drop. Something felt wrong. Something felt too excited. Jenna looked at Daniel and then at Maya with a grin that wasn't friendly at all. "Sue," she said loudly, "how was your blind date?" Maya froze, the tone, the laughter, the wide smirks. Something clicked in her mind, her breath caught. "Jenna, why are you talking like that?" Liam stepped in with a phone raised halfway, as if he had been recording something before they arrived. "Come on, Maya, it was just a little fun. We just wanted to see your reaction when you saw who they matched you with." Daniel felt sick. His face grew hot. His heart pounded painfully. Maya's eyes widened slowly. "What do you mean, see my reaction?" Jenna laughed and nudged Liam's shoulder. "Oh, come on, Maya. Don't be upset. We thought it would be funny. We didn't think you'd actually stay for the whole dinner." Liam added, "Yeah, we just wanted to see what you'd do when you saw him." Daniel looked down at the pavement. He had felt embarrassed before in life, but this was something deeper. This was the kind of hurt that stung the soul. He had agreed to the date, thinking someone genuinely wanted to meet him. Now he realized he had been part of a prank he never asked for. His hands shook slightly. Maya felt her chest tighten with a mixture of shock, anger, and deep sadness. She turned to Daniel slowly, her voice barely a whisper. "You didn't know, did you?" Daniel shook his head. "No, I thought someone truly wanted to meet me." His voice was quiet, but full of hurt. Jenna laughed again, missing the emotion completely. "Relax, guys, it was just a little joke. We didn't think it would actually turn into a full dinner." "Wow, Maya, you stayed with him for hours." Maya's face burned with shame, but not shame for herself. Shame for them. Shame for what they did. Shame for the way they treated someone who had shown nothing but kindness tonight. She took a slow breath, then walked forward. Her coworkers kept smiling until she stopped right in front of them. Her voice was calm, but strong. "Kindness is not a joke. A person's feelings are not a joke." The group fell silent. Liam lowered his phone. Maya continued, "You thought it would be funny to see me surprised. Or uncomfortable. But you didn't think about him. You didn't think about how he would feel if he found out this was a prank." Jenna stepped back, losing her smile. "Maya, we didn't mean." "Yes," Maya said softly but firmly. "You did. You meant to laugh. At me. At him. At something that should never be laughed at." Daniel watched from a few steps behind her. He had never seen someone defend him like this. Not out of pity, not because of his position, but because they believed it was simply the right thing to do. Maya turned toward him, her eyes softening. "Daniel, you didn't deserve this." Daniel swallowed hard. His voice trembled. "I'm sorry you were dragged into a joke." Maya shook her head. "You were not the joke. The joke was the way they behaved." Her coworkers looked down at their shoes, suddenly aware of the weight of what they had done. The laughter was gone now, replaced by shame and realization. Maya took a step closer to Daniel. Tonight meant something to me, not because of them, but because of our conversation. Because of your honesty. Because you treated me with respect. Daniel's eyes softened. He didn't know how to respond. No one had ever spoken to him like that. Maya turned back to her co-workers for the last time. If you want to play games, play them with each other. Not with people's hearts. Silence spread over the group like a heavy blanket. Without another word, Maya walked away from them and stood beside Daniel, tall, calm, and steady. The truth had come out. The night had changed, but something else had changed too. Maya and Daniel now understood exactly who stood with them and who didn't. For a long moment, the street stayed quiet. The bright diner sign flickered overhead, and the sound of distant traffic filled the silence that Maya's words had carved through the night. Her co-workers stood frozen, shocked, embarrassed, and unsure of how to respond. None of them expected Maya, the calm and gentle waitress, to speak with such strength. Daniel stood beside her, still processing everything. He felt exposed, like someone had taken a private, fragile part of him and left it open in the cold air. His shoulders were slightly hunched, and he stared at the ground, not wanting anyone to see the hurt in his eyes. Maya looked at him, her heart squeezing. She knew that this moment, this painful, uncomfortable moment, would leave a deep mark on him. No one, not even a powerful CEO, deserved to feel like the center of a joke. She took a small step closer, her voice soft but firm. "Daniel," he lifted his head slowly. "You didn't deserve this," she whispered. "Not even a piece of it." Daniel swallowed hard, trying to speak, but his voice cracked. "I've been judged before," he said quietly. "But this, knowing it was planned, it feels different." Maya nodded gently. "Because it was meant to hurt. And you didn't deserve hurt, you deserved respect." Those words hit him like warm sunlight breaking through a dark cloud. He let out a shaky breath, one he didn't realize he had been holding. Behind them, Jenna tried to speak. "Maya, we didn't think he'd find out. It was supposed to be a private joke between us." Maya turned around, and her expression made Jenna's voice fade away. "No joke stays private when it's built on someone's dignity," Maya said. Her tone wasn't angry, just deeply disappointed. Liam rubbed the back of his neck. "We thought you'd walk out when you saw him. We didn't expect you'd actually talk to him." Daniel's chest tightened again, but Maya stepped forward before he could say anything. "Why?" Maya asked. "Why would you expect that?" Liam hesitated. "Well, He didn't finish, but the unfinished sentence said everything." Daniel lowered his eyes. Maya took a slow breath. "Look at him," she said softly. "Look at the way he stands quietly. Look at the way he carried himself tonight. He is kind, he is respectful, he didn't hurt anyone. And yet you chose him as the center of a joke. Why?" None of them answered. "You judged someone you never even met," Maya continued. "You assumed I would judge him too. That says more about you than him." Her words were not loud. They didn't need to be. The truth itself carried weight. Daniel felt something shift inside him, like someone was finally standing between him and the world for the first time in years. Jenna's voice cracked slightly. We didn't mean to hurt him." Maya looked at her evenly. "But you did," Liam sighed. "Maya, we're sorry, really." Maya nodded once, accepting the apology but not excusing the behavior. "Saying sorry is a start, but learn from this. People carry enough struggles in their lives. They don't need more." Her co-workers exchanged guilty glances. The laughter that filled their plan earlier that day now felt hollow and cruel. Daniel took a slow breath, finally finding his voice. "I don't want anyone punished," he said quietly. "I just want to be treated like a person, not a punchline." Maya turned to him with soft eyes and said the words that broke the joke completely, the words that none of her co-workers would forget. "You deserve respect, Daniel." Not laughter. Daniel felt something tighten in his throat. He had heard many things in his life: praise, criticism, judgments, advice. but never those words spoken to him with such sincerity. Maya stepped closer, her voice even softer. You showed kindness tonight. That's what matters. Daniel blinked away, the emotion building behind his eyes. Jenna, Liam, and the others finally understood the weight of what they had done. Their prank wasn't funny anymore. It was unkind, unnecessary, unfair. Jenna spoke carefully. Daniel, I'm sorry. We shouldn't have done this. You didn't deserve it. Daniel nodded gently. Thank you, he said, though the hurt still lingered. Maya placed a comforting hand near his arm, not touching, but close enough to let him know he wasn't alone. Let's go, she said softly. They began walking away from the diner. The cool night air felt different, now sharp but calming. Daniel inhaled deeply, letting his shoulders relax just a little. When they reached the bus stop, Daniel finally spoke again. Why did you stand up for me like that? He asked quietly. Maya looked at him with steady eyes. Because kindness should never be punished. And because you treated me with respect all evening. It's my turn to do the same. Daniel felt his heart warm in a way he hadn't felt in years. I'm grateful, he whispered. Maya smiled softly. Tonight wasn't a joke for me. It was real. Our conversation was real. Daniel looked at her with deep sincerity. It was real for me too. The bus lights appeared in the distance. Maya stepped toward the curb. Before she boarded, she turned to him one last time. Daniel, don't let tonight make you hide from people. Some of us see your heart. He froze. The words sank deep into him, filling a place that had long been empty. Good night, Maya, he said softly. Good night, Daniel. The bus doors closed. Maya waved gently from the window. Daniel stood there, watching the bus disappear into the night, his heart full of something he hadn't felt in a long time, hope. The next morning, Maya returned to Lakeside Diner with a quiet mind. The sky was pale blue, the streets were calm, and the scent of warm bread drifted through the kitchen as she walked in. But the moment she stepped inside, the chattering stopped. Her co-workers froze mid-sentence. Some looked guilty, some looked embarrassed, and some looked unsure of what to say. Maya tied her apron without rushing. She didn't want arguments, she didn't want drama, and she didn't want to carry the hurt from last night into a new day. Life was already heavy enough, she just wanted peace. Jenna finally stepped forward. Maya, can we talk? Maya looked at her with calm eyes. Yes. Jenna took a deep breath. We messed up. All of us. Last night, it wasn't funny. It wasn't kind. We didn't think about how it would make you feel. Or how it would make him feel. Her voice wavered. I'm really sorry. Liam came beside her. I'm sorry too, Maya. We acted thoughtlessly. We're ashamed of what we did. Maya nodded softly. Their apology felt sincere. She didn't want to carry anger forever. Life moved better when hearts stayed light. I accept your apology, she said simply. Just remember this, people matter. Their feelings matter. Even small jokes leave real marks. Her co-workers nodded, understanding her completely. Before Maya could say more, the diner bell above the door jingled. All eyes turned toward the entrance. Daniel stepped inside. He looked different today, not in his clothes, not in his hair, but in the quiet emotion resting in his eyes. He held a small white box in his hands, and for a moment, he searched for Maya, unsure if she even wanted to see him after last night. When Maya saw him, her breath caught in a soft, warm surprise. She didn't expect him so soon. But she was glad he came. Daniel approached her slowly, his steps careful but firm. Maya, he said gently. Good morning. Good morning, Daniel, she replied. Her co-workers stood frozen, confused but silent, watching the man who arrived not with anger, but with kindness. Daniel handed the small box to Maya. This is for you, he said softly. What is it? She asked, surprised. Just something small, he replied. To thank you for last night. For standing up for me when you didn't have to. And for treating me like a real person. Maya felt her heart warm. She opened the box carefully. Inside was a simple silver pen, beautiful, elegant, engraved with soft letters. For your stories, D.H. Maya's eyes widened. A pen. For my stories? Daniel nodded shyly. You told me you wanted to write. I wanted you to know your dream matters. And I believe you can still follow it. Maya felt a lump form in her throat. No one had ever encouraged her dream like this, not even the people she saw every day. The gift wasn't expensive. It wasn't flashy. It was thoughtful, personal, meaningful. Daniel. Thank you, she whispered. This means more than you know. Daniel smiled a little. I hoped so. Her coworkers watched silently, slowly realizing the depth of what they had almost ruined. Jenna wiped her eyes quietly. Liam looked away in regret. Maya closed the box gently and held it against her chest. Would you like to sit? She asked. Daniel shook his head. Actually, I didn't come for breakfast. I just wanted to see if you were okay. After everything. Maya nodded softly. I'm okay. Because you handled it with dignity. Daniel's eyes softened at her words. There was a quiet moment between them, full of respect, quiet warmth, and something unspoken that neither of them rushed to name. Before leaving, Daniel said, Maya, last night wasn't easy for either of us, but it was honest. I'm grateful for that. Maya smiled gently. Me too. He stepped back, preparing to leave. But before he walked out, he looked at her one last time. If you ever want someone to read your stories, he said softly, I'm here. Maya's heart fluttered with a calm, sincere warmth. I will remember that. Daniel nodded and walked out of the diner. The bell above the door chimed softly behind him. Maya watched him go, the silver pen still held close to her heart. As the day went on, the diner returned to its usual rhythm, but something inside Maya had changed. She felt lighter, stronger, and more hopeful. And every time she looked at the pen, she remembered Daniel's words. Dreams don't disappear. They wait for the right moment. That night, when she returned home, she sat at her small desk with a blank notebook in front of her. She took a deep breath, opened the silver pen, and let the first words flow. For the first time in years, she wrote not for school, not for work, but for herself. She wrote about kindness, about dignity, about unexpected friendship. She wrote about a blind date that started as a joke, but turned into something gentle and real. And across the city, Daniel sat in his quiet apartment, thinking about Maya, about her strength, about her calm voice, and about the way she made him feel seen again. The night was peaceful, and for the first time in a long while, they both felt that something new, something honest, something hopeful had begun. Not a love story yet, not a fairy tale. Just two hearts learning to trust again. A new beginning.